This is Prism Plus by Joshua J. A brilliant take on the color-changing deck plot. Is this one of the best tricks of 2023? Stick around to find out. Let's do my favorite part of the Prism Plus routine. I won't do the full thing because if I did, there's some in-person misdirection that has to happen for some of the phases, but this is my favorite part. We're going to do something cool with this deck. We're going to actually take them half face up, half face down, and mix them face up, face down, face up, face down, face up, face down. And you get the drill. We're going to Pharaoh shuffle them together like this, so they're really interlaced and jumbled up. The most powerful cards in the deck are the 4 aces, so let's try to get to the 4 aces just by doing this. That's the first ace, the ace of clubs. Once we have 1, we can always get a second, the ace of hearts. And once we have 2, we're going to actually center deal, which means taking out a random card in the middle, and it is the ace of diamonds. Now, obviously, we have face-up cards, we have face-down cards, but when I snap my fingers, everything goes face-up except for 1 card, and 1 card only. Let's build suspense. We found these 3 aces very impossibly by cutting to them. And there was 1 more ace. Everything went back to normal but 1. They pull it out. They show everyone, and it is the ace of spades. Now, whenever I do this trick, people say, could you do that with my deck of cards? I could do it with your deck. In fact, I don't even need this red deck. I could use every single card I ever used. These are every single deck of cards, all these colorful decks. And you can check some of them out. Check them out. This was one I got at a casino. Where was it? This Las Vegas casino. This was one I got at another casino. And I got this from Theory 11. You can check all of these. But there are 4 decks of cards missing because that's the aces I took out of these colored decks of cards. I hope you all enjoyed that performance of that part of the routine. This effect is a great take on the color changing deck routine because it builds and then it explodes. One similar effect, although it's not the same, is Hypercolor by Bizarro, which I recently reviewed. As I said, even though they're similar effects, they're not the same. But go watch that review after this one. First of all, I'd like to let all Magic distributors and creators know if you'd like me to review your product, contact me at bfanmail@gmail.com. I also do free Magic monthly giveaways, and all you have to do to be eligible is subscribe. Now, let's talk about Prism Plus. What do you get when you buy Prism Plus? You'll get this nice box, and inside, you'll first of all get your specially printed Prism Deck, which contains 52 cards with a phoenix face design and varying back design colors. These back designs will allow you to do much more than just the trick Prism routine. These cards have no moving parts, but they do have some special features and gaffs, which we'll talk more about later. You'll also get a special handmade card made by Nicholas Lawrence, and that gimmicked card takes the original Prism Deck and brings it to Prism Plus. Finally, you'll get the link to the tutorial on the Vanishing Inc website. What do you need to provide? Unfortunately, you do need to provide some things. For the big haul routine, you need to provide 2 of these red Phoenix decks of cards. Joshua says you don't need these, and you could even use purple bicycles, but then you can't take the deck out of the box because the card case with the Prism deck has a Prism Plus design. Here. You also won't be able to do the convincers to show multiple cards, red backs. From those decks, you only need a few cards. From these decks, you only need a few cards, a few jokers, some miscellaneous cards, and a 4 of a kind. The rest of the deck is not necessary for the effect, but you also need the box. You will also need a X-Acto knife to do a small DIY thing, but nothing to do with the gimmicked card included. The gimmicked card comes ready to go out of the box. The DIY is really quick. You just take one of the cards from the Prism Plus deck and do something to it. Now, what is the quality of the gimmick? The deck of Prism cards is very well designed. The deck of cards are really hugely improved from the original Prism effect. These cards look like the ones you can get. Like, they really look like every single deck you've ever used. As for the gimmick card, that's interesting. The gimmicked card does not use elastic, dental dam, magnets, thread, roughing spray, or anything like that. However, the material that allows this to function is not extremely durable, and it will likely break. I don't want to name the material, but it's something in all office supply stores, and every single household has it, even non-magician households. I recommend that you use a stronger type of this material, even if it shines a little bit and shows up. That way the gimmick shouldn't break for a very long time, as it won't tear. However, if you do this, there is a slight discrepancy, making the gimmick slightly more visible, but it's definitely worth doing, because then it probably won't break for a long time. It's not something that people should see, but it's just a small note I had. The gimmicked card that changes the color of the card's back design is very visual, but it can be a bit slower than a gimmick that uses a different material, like a flap card with elastic. The gimmicked card is pretty well made though. That really is the only moving part. The advantage with this gimmicked card is that it can stay in its set position for an extended period of time without breaking. I currently use the stronger material, which definitely helps out a lot with that, and I can leave the gimmick overnight or for a few days and it's still ready to go right away. Like in this, I keep all the gimmicked cards in here. This is ready to go whenever I want to show someone Prism Plus routine. Now, how is the tutorial? The tutorial is just over an hour long. Josh is the one who teaches everything. First, he sets up what you get in the box. Then he tells you what you need to provide and how to set everything up. Then he explains the big Prism Plus routine. You can remove parts of the routine if you want, but you may have to readjust the setup to do so. He then teaches a killer ending with his Phantom deck. If you don't know what that is, it's a very popular release, again by Josh J, where all the cards turn clear on both sides. Then he teaches you some effects with the Prism cards. The audio is great, the video is great, Josh is on a couch, he's mic'd, and the tutorial is pretty good. Are there any clothing restrictions? There aren't really any clothing restrictions. All you need are pockets to do the effect. Is this a social media or real life effect? This trick would work great on social media or in real life. If you're doing this for social media, I would only do the ace production and the deck color change, just like I did for you guys, as that is the visual part and the most powerful part of the routine. Also, some of the routine has some misdirection built into it, so it wouldn't work as good on camera, which is why I didn't do the full thing. It's also the most powerful part of the routine. But if you do the color change on social media, the thing is with the gimmicked card, it does happen slightly slower than a card with an elastic flap gimmick or something with dental dam or magnets. Therefore, viewers may see a flash in the video if they put the video in slow motion, or they may see something. You shouldn't have that problem if you do the change fast and properly in practice. It's, I admit, a bit knacky to get it perfect at first, but I find just keep the deck parallel to the floor and you should be fine when you do the color change. That's how it works best, at least for me. Now, what are the angles like? The angles for this trick are very good. You're virtually angle proof, but for some parts of the routine, you'll want to be careful about people behind you. If you hold the deck close to your body for certain parts, you should be able to be surrounded, and this is mentioned by Josh in the trailer. Are there live performances? Yes, there is a live performance of the Prism Plus routine in the tutorial. Is this examinable? The 4 aces are fully examinable at the end of the routine. As for the deck of cards, almost all the cards are examinable, but 5 cards are not examinable. You'll have to palm those off while the aces are being examined, or maybe cop them off while everyone's in shock and looking at the aces, which changed colors in their hand. Now let's talk about the difficulty and practicality of Prism Plus. This trick is about intermediate. You'll want to work on the sequencing and choreographing for this effect. The moves are pretty simple for the full routine. You do need to do a top change, palming is optional, false cuts are covered in the tutorial, a triple lift, pinky break, and some other stuff. However, I definitely would practice this before performing it, but it's very practical. As long as you have a table, you can do this. But if you were only to do a 4 ace production and the deck color change, the beauty is you don't even need a table. You can have your spectator cup their hands out and use that as the table. This is very practical for table-to-table magic, close-up magic, and more. Is there any DIY? There is a small amount of DIY, but you'll only have one chance to do it, and it's with one of the Prism cards. You'll need an X-Acto knife, and it's a one-time setup. It'll take about a minute if you do it properly and slowly, but take your time. How much pocket space is required? For this trick, you just need to carry this deck of Prism cards in the red Phoenix box. It starts self-contained. What is the reset like? The reset is very quick. especially when you get used to it. It takes about 10 seconds and it's quite easy, but you won't want to do it in front of your audience. You'll want to do it when you're going from table to table, or if you're bringing everything inside your case, or doing it underneath the table, like under a table, while you're talking to your audience about your next effect. So the reset, it takes about 10 seconds, but it's not too much of a nuisance. I guess it could get annoying if you have to keep doing it over and over, but no one should notice if you're doing it under the table. Now, let's see if the trailer and ad copy are honest. The trailer is on the Vanishing Inc Magic.com website, and it states, Joshua J's best-selling Prism Deck is now better than ever. The addition of a brand new custom Prism Plus gimmick adds a hyper-visual CGI-level finale to this complete act that fits in your pocket. The Prism Deck is one of the most popular and best-reviewed color-changing decks ever made, perfected over 20 plus years, and won thousands of performances. This stunning full deck color change happens entirely in your hands. The backs of all 52 cards change, including some cards that your participant is holding in their hands, all with no deck switch. So far, that is pretty honest, because some of the magic even happens in their hands. You put the aces in their hands. You do the ace production. You mix them face up, face down in their hands. A lot of it happens in their hands. There are so many nice subtleties. And it's right. There is no deck switch required, which is one of the main advantages with this, because a lot of other color changing deck routines, they have a deck switch and stuff. But now let's get back to the ad copy. The ad copy. Wayne Houchin said that this is stunning, practical, logical, and astonishing. While the color-changing deck is the core routine, there are actually 20 effects built into this versatile deck of cards, from Triumph routine to an ace location, and even one of the most unique spins on the Chicago opener you'll ever see. There is so much hard-hitting card magic built into the Prism deck. All of these effects strike the perfect balance between being amazing and practical, and most of them are easy to do. Josh never goes to a show without his Prism Deck. It was already one of the strongest effects he performs, and his go-to effect for impressing everyone from celebrities to presidents. But now, thanks to the incredible new Prism Plus gimmick, it's been catapulted to an entirely new level. Roberto Giobbi said, Joshua J's Prism has plenty of ideas you'll like and use, Roberto Giobbi. What is Prism Plus? Prism Plus is a special set that includes a Prism Deck and the Prism Plus gimmick. And essentially, the Prism Deck has been given a facelift with the addition of some new designs and is now printed on USPC's premium crushed cardstock, making the cards a joy to handle. The star edition, though, is the handmade Prism Plus gimmicked card, designed in collaboration with Nicholas Lawrence. This is your key to easily performing an eye-popping, one-handed finale to your color-changing deck routine. It looks like real magic, and it will even deceive your own eyes. It's a unique design that offers the same striking visuals of a flap card without the traditional restrictions of your normal flap card. You won't have to worry about fragile gimmicks breaking or having to prep and hold the card awkwardly. The gimmick is built to last, is easy to use, resets quickly, and has no angle restrictions. In the detailed instructional video, Josh shows you how to string together effects in a complete routine with multiple magical moments that all play a role in convincing your audience that all the back designs are the same. This makes the final full deck change a truly unexplainable stunner. That's the ad copy. That's very honest, it's very transparent, and it highlights a lot of positives with this, because typically with color changing deck routines, there's a flap card with elastic. So you do often have to hold the deck funny, and that is a bit of a negative with those effects. But with this is not the case. It stays ready to go until you're ready to perform it. This is still in its ready position. There are no magnets. There are no elastics. There's nothing that should break. I mean, there is something that could break, but if you use a stronger material, it probably will last you 100 performances at least. And it shouldn't even tear at all. But that's pretty honest. And again, yeah, if you use a stronger material, it really does improve the durability by so much. My gimmick has not broken since I started using a stronger material. What is the price of this? This costs 40 US dollars. That's a very good price for this effect because you get a specially printed deck with a bunch of hidden features and a specially gimmicked card from Nicholas Lawrence that can stay ready until you're ready to use it. So that's a great price for this effect, especially when you see all the inflation in the Magic community. Everything's becoming so much more expensive, not just in Magic, in all regards. And this is a steal for everything you get and all the tuition from Josh J. This is an act that you will use. And the full Prism routine, it's some of the best card tricks that you probably already do combined into one routine that you can do with cards, all different back designs. Again, no switches. So this is so worth the price. Now, what are the pros and cons? The pros are that there is a very visual finish to a powerful trick. The reset is very fast. This is a full act for you to use. The angles are great. There's a new gimmick that eliminates a lot of the stress with a traditional flap card. The price is great. The Prism deck is very well made, and the back designs of all the cards look really, really nice. And there are so many moments of powerful magic in this. And the tutorial, of course, is great. It's Joshua J. He teaches you everything you need to know about the Prism, subtleties, setup, and even some tricks with the Prism deck cards that you can do. And those are some pretty cool tricks. The cons, the material on the color changing card may break. Also, you'll need to provide 2 Phoenix decks of cards. I really, really wish they provided just a red box and the few cards from the deck that you need. That's all you need. Just a few cards from 2 Phoenix decks. A few Jokers, a miscellaneous card, a 4 of a kind, and something else. And yeah, the box. And if they just put the Prism deck in a red box, that would have helped a lot as well. I wish they could have done this in a bicycle back design, but again, bicycles stopped allowing you to make gimmicks out of their cards, which is a bit unfortunate. And also the specially printing on this is pretty good. So it doesn't matter too much because I like to use this in the presentation as in, this is a new deck of cards I brought. See, you can see the plastic wrap is still on it. And then I do the full Prism Plus routine because the full Prism Plus routine ties into it being a new deck of cards because you're talking about how you first need to remove the Jokers and then the Jokers, you take the aces out and those turn back into the Jokers, which you put away again. So it ties in that you'd say, hey, we have a new deck of cards here. So I guess it's fine that it's not really bicycle. But yeah, this is a great improvement on the original Prism effect. What percent do I give this? Prism Plus gets a 94%. It's a very powerful effect and very fun to perform. Thank you all for watching. Go watch the Hypercolor review now, and I'll see you there.